We all probably know about that creepypasta slash indie horror game called Dungeon Nightmares, but where is the story behind it? Much like Slender Man was a very amazing success on creepypasta, and how other games and sorts were also successes on creepypasta, there is not much to be said about Dungeon Nightmares. It is the game that was developed and then just played. There was no story behind it or anything. Well, here it is. In the year 1880, a British archaeologist by the name of Sir Mel Thomas and his team were studying the Egyptian ruins near Alexandria, which is in Egypt. When they discovered something, as Sir Thomas and his team were driving, one of their trucks sank deep into the sandy pits and was not able to be seen until they looked at where it disappeared. The truck had sunk because it had hit a decaying ruin or ancient wooden maze under the sands of the Sahara. Sir Mel Thomas and his team, immediately after rescuing those who had fallen, began excavating the entire area. What they uncovered was remarkable. It was the remains of an ancient Egyptian cult dating back to the Roman Republic, or further beyond that. There was no door to this ancient tomb of sorts, but they did find a hatch with sand covering its handles and wooden framing. Sir Mel Thomas decided, and his team as well, it was best that he go alone and explore the tomb. He was an adventurous man, but his overexcitement and lust for newer journeys may have become his undoing. Sir Mel Thomas climbed down a ladder given to him by his researchers, and began exploring the dark halls of this mysterious and decrepit area. What he heard and noticed was only heard for a brief second. A sandstorm erupted above him, and the team he was with had fled, trying to find shelter. Sir Thomas was now completely alone in this dark, unfamiliar, and creepy place. He began exploring the cultist maze, opening doors, while also hearing strange voices and noises in the far distance. He began to think to himself, "I am not alone." As Sir Thomas kept exploring, he noticed something. The noises were becoming increasingly closer and closer. He could see, to his amazement, a standing skeleton. No ideas of where this foul creature came from. He would come about naming this beast Arthur. Arthur to be his only friend Sir Thomas had at the time, to be trapped in this godforsaken place. As he began to explore more and more, he noticed there was gold bars in this dark place. He picked up one and noticed that his friend Arthur had amazingly and very shockingly repositioned himself closer towards Sir Thomas. Sir Thomas dropped the gold immediately, fleeing, running full speed. As he looked backwards, he noticed Arthur was in full pursuit. He came to the realization that Arthur may be a guardian of sorts, trying to protect this tomb from thieves who he believed Sir Thomas was. Sir Thomas eventually dropped the gold, which caused Arthur to give up the chase. He stumbled upon artwork to his right. Being to the left stone wall of the tomb, he saw a picture of a creature with very long, extended neck. He thought it was a demon at first. Then he began to hear laughter in the background. He turned and saw, etched on the stone, it would look like pure blood. It was Latin, Hall Damnatorum, Hall of the Damned in English. He quickly backed up and stared in amazement. He thought to himself, "I must find an artifact from this devilish place. Once then I can leave." As he said that, he noticed something in the far right. He could hear flies in the distance, and he began to see the apparition of what looked like a little girl. He was confused, but he followed where the figure was coming from. As he did, he noticed steam pipes, which didn't make much sense considering this was an ancient Egyptian tomb of sorts. He thought, where did they get the steam from? As he was baffled, he followed the figure to a new room with a much larger area and circumference. He noticed a book on the table nearby, and the title was also in Latin, Oculus Pharaonis, basically meaning the Pharaoh's guardian, I believe. This ancient cult was devoted to one of the pharaohs. Sir Thomas was astounded. Never before had he witnessed or seen such context of ancient history so alive and up close. It almost terrified him, and that it should. The lantern he was carrying burned out. Luckily, he was able to find candles all over the place, separated all throughout the tombs. As he lit the first candle he looked up, and staring directly at him was the girl this time. She didn't look like a girl. He saw the apparition literally popping right in front of his face, wearing bandages and covered in blood. He knew that this was not a place for men like this, for men like him. This was a place for true terror. The figure he saw was an Egyptian mummy, who would roam the halls of the damned pharaoh at night, searching for something. Unknowingly what? Sir Thomas wondered. Sir Thomas backed up and quickly ran towards the door. He then ran down a very long and narrow hallway until coming to a new room. As he opened the door, he could hear something dripping. He opened the door and peeked in, and there it was, the most terrifying thing he'd ever witnessed. A creature was standing facing away when it heard the door creak. It turned around, and there it saw Sir Thomas. It was a mummy, and it was covered in blood and decay, and it had the most loud and terrifying scream Thomas had ever heard in his entire life. The scream nearly busted Sir Thomas's eardrums. He quickly turned and ran as far as he could, or as fast as he could. Still hearing the creature moan and scream, he knew he had to get the hell out of there. Running full speed away, he finally finds what looks like a giant book. It turns out to be a clue he so desperately needs, but he needs to hurry up to the exit. The mummy is catching up to him. Sir Thomas was able to get rid of the foul creature by blowing out one of the candles, which attracted him by light. Once then, Sir Thomas attempted to find his way or make his way back to the ladder. Unfortunately for him, the hatch had slammed shut on him, and lo to behold, the Pharaoh's Keeper's curse had begun. He would need to find 6 more artifacts each new day, and use their powers to unlock the hatch. However, each day the dungeon or tomb he walks in becomes stronger and stronger. So the story of Dungeon Nightmares, from what I've read, is that you're playing the role of Sir Mel Thomas. You are basically an Egyptian, I guess you could say, archaeologist or researcher. Your lust for adventure has led you down into an ancient Egyptian cultist tomb of sorts, or I guess you could call it a dungeon since it is the name of the game. Your ultimate goal is to escape this dark, decrepit place, but you're being cursed by a pharaoh's curse for 6 nights staying in this dark and damn place until the hatch opens back up. There was not much context to be said about it other than the fact that the hatch did close on you. This creature that you see in the game, apart from Arthur, or Skelly as some people call him, is just known as the mummy. It is a creature which is being called the Searcher of the Pharaoh. It is one that basically roams the halls searching for something, but nobody knows what. It is your job to find out what, and it is your job to find out what it's doing there. There are notes all over this dungeon, and as many times as you level up, or as you increase in levels, you will notice that there are more and more notes written in the blood of the dungeon walls themselves. Study and analyze each note, and eventually you will find out what the hell is happening here. Good luck, and may Sir Mel Thomas escape in one piece.